All right, we are back with example 3. So it says to rent a certain vehicle, Rent-A-Ride charges $55 per day with unlimited miles. The cost of renting a similar vehicle at We Got Wheels is $38 per day plus 20 cents per mile. For what number of miles is the cost at Rent-A-Ride less than the cost at We Got Wheels? All right, so before we get started, we're going to have to define a variable, write an inequality, and then solve to find our answer. So first, what is the variable? Usually it's in the question. For what number of miles is the cost? So what's the thing we don't know? We don't know the number of miles. So let x equal number of miles. Okay, then what are we looking for? Rent-A-Ride less than cost at We Can Go. So Rent-A-Ride needs to be less than. So this would be Rent-A-Ride needs to be less than the cost at We Got Wheels. So that's the inequality that we're looking for. Now we just need to substitute in the numbers. So how much is it for Rent-A-Ride for one day? $55. And We Got Wheels is $38 per day plus 20 cents per mile. So that's going to be 38 plus 20 cents per mile, which is x. So we have our inequality here. So now we just want to go ahead and solve. To do that, we have to get x by itself. So obviously we would subtract 38 to both sides. That would leave us with 7, that would be a 4, 17. Okay, then we need to get x by itself, so we're going to divide both sides by 0.20. So I'm going to go over here, 17 divided by 0.20 is just the same thing as 0.2. Okay, the first thing to dividing by decimals is that you can never divide by decimals, so we have to move this over one place. Move this over one place, adding a 0. So we're really going 170 divided by 2. 2 doesn't go into 1, but it goes into 17. 8 times 2 is 16. 17 minus 16 is 1. Drop down the 0. 2 goes into 10 5 times. 5 times 2 is 10. Boom. There we have it. So it goes in 0.2. 0 goes into 1785 times. And then lastly, we just need to write that variable on the left side and make sure the alligator's eating the right thing here. So for our answer, we know that Rent-A-Ride costs less when the number of miles is more than 85. So this tells us that Rent-A-Ride, which is what we were trying to get, Rent-A-Ride costs less, when the number of miles is more than 85. All right. There is our answer. So we defined our variable, we wrote our inequality, we solved it, and then we interpreted our results. So that's important that you do that and write down your answer in a complete sentence when you're dealing with a story problem. Okay, let's go ahead and look at the next example. It says the average of Jim's 2 test scores must be at least 90 to make an A in the class. Jim got a 95 on his first test. What grades can Jim get on his second test to make an A in the class? So the first thing we need to figure out is, well, what is our variable, right? So it would be the score on the second test. So we're going to say let x equal the second test score. All right, and then it's saying the average of Jim's 2 test scores must be at least 90 to make an A, okay? So we're talking about the average, right? And whenever you have the average, you add 2 You add all of the things together and you divide by the number of things there are. So here we're talking about 2 test scores. So first we need to add those 2 test scores together. And Jim got a 95 on his first test, so it's going to be a 95 plus what he needs to get on his second test, which we don't know, so that's X. So when you do the average, you add those 2 test scores together, and then you divide by the number of test scores there are, which are 2. Now, this average must be at least 90. So that means this has to be at least, not at the least, it means it has to be bigger than 90 because 90 is the least it can be. So it can equal 90, but this has to be bigger or equal to 90. The average of Jim's test scores must be at least 90. Yeah. To make an A in the test. Jim got a 95 on his first test. So it has to be, this has to be greater than 90. So then we just go ahead and solve for X. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down here. We're going to get X by itself, so we're going to multiply both sides by 2. Those cancel. We're left with 95 plus 2. 90 times 2 is 180. Oh, wait, this is supposed to be an X. Okay. I keep bumping that. All right, so then we need to subtract 95 to both sides, and we end up with X is greater than or equal to, that would be 7, 5. 17 minus 9 would be 80. Okay? So he would have to at least get an 85 to get an A. In the class. So you have to get an 85 or above. So what grades can Jim get on his second test score to make an A in the class? Well, the second test score must be 85 or higher. So that's how you interpret the answer and write it in a complete sentence. All right, so that's how you do different types of application problems. I want you to use this pattern in your homework assignment. Define the variable, write your inequality, solve, and then interpret the results. All right, see you next time. Bye.